back then with game number 2 between Titanic and Roma. I need to sort the scene switcher thing out because it's messing everything up at the moment, and I will fix the end of this game. Hopefully I will remember. And yeah, so that's the south of the map. In the blue here, we have got Titanic Eddie, and he is playing as the Mayans in the blue. Awesome stuff to see Eddie playing here. I'm so glad to see Eddie actually taking part, because after that first game, I was really worried. I was like, oh crap, what if Eddie isn't going to be playing here, because he is part of Titanic and he wasn't in the first game. But yes, Eddie is playing, and that's great. I kind of want to see Eddie in action. He's, like I say, in the Mayans. His teammate... wow, okay, not down to the side. His teammate up to the north of him. Eddie is on the flank. In the pocket possession in the green, we've got Antan playing as the Vikings over here. Up to the north of the map in the red, we've got Embel playing as the Huns. He is also in the pocket position, and on the other flank we've got in the orange, what? That's not orange. In the purple we've got Iridescent playing as the Mongols in purple. Yeah, so that's the Titanic team. They're off to the kind of right of the map. They're kind of in the same location as they were in the last game, actually. If you think about that last game in the Land Nomad, Titanic were up to the north and the east of the map, and they're at the same position here as well. Eddie down here on the flank, of course. So on the other side of the map, we've got, let's have a quick change around. We've got Cloud once again. He's playing in the teal again, as the Mayans here on the flank position at the very south. To his left in the pocket, we've got Levi B once again in the yellow, playing as the Huns this time. And over to his left, in the grey, the annoying grey, we have got Rox playing as the Vikings in the pocket for Roma here. Up to his north, finally, last but not least, on the flank position, we've got NH Boy in the orange playing as the Mongols at the very north of the map. So that's pretty cool. I mean, the players here are pretty high caliber, I would say. Cloud is probably the one that I know the most from the Roma team. These guys are a Taiwanese team, and I don't really know their players all too well. I just know Cloud through his streaming, and the Titanic guys known a little bit better, of course. I think the star, well, not really the star, but we've got Eddie here, and that's going to be interesting to watch on this flank. The map is, let's just confirm, it is Ancient Lake, and this is a map that's been made for the War is Coming map pack. It's a pretty interesting map, actually, and if you have a quick look, it almost looks like South America. This sort of area here, it looks like South America or something. But there's a lot of fish in this lake, and that is the most important thing. A ton of fish, and you would be mad not to fish it. However, there are shallows at the bottom of this, and there are shallows that run across the top here as well, meaning that a complete wall-off is going to be slightly difficult. However, got a feel for Cloud and for Iridescent here, because they are kind of split off from their teammates. Cloud is way out away from his teammates here, as the closest player to him is Levi B, and he's on the other side of these shallows. And with Iridescent being, again, on the other side of the shallows, closer to NH Boy, with Emberl, the red player, being slightly further behind him. So, yeah, kind of interesting generation of the locations of the Civs, teams. Sorry, you'd almost expect to see Iridescent replacing Cloud, and then the Roma team being on the left side, and the Titanic team being on the right side. But yeah, it's not, and that's going to make things a little bit interesting. It's going to mean that walling off these kind of passageways is not going to be so easily done, or so common to see, especially in the north. However, the south, though, they have walled it. And Cloud here getting his walls up behind Eddie's. Eddie, of course, no surprise that he is walling this one. He is the arena player, the arena extraordinaire, the guy who plays arena 24/7, and he is good at it as a result. So Eddie, no surprise he's going to be sitting behind walls and walling that up very quickly. But yeah, man, I am really struggling to pronounce things and say colors today. I mean, basic linguistic skills, yet I am failing so badly. It's kind of funny. It's really warm in here. I don't know if that's having an effect. Some excuse, surely. Anyway, Yeah, gotta say, the civs looking pretty interesting. These were actually picked as hidden civs, so each team chose these civilizations without knowing what the other team was choosing. And Eddie's chosen the Mayans. We see that from both him and Cloud. Mayans, of course, such a popular pick in these situations, or in any team game, really. Their plumed archers are valuable asset to any fight. The illegal warriors that they can pump out in the late game. Eagle Warriors, by the way, that I meant. They can pump them out and start raiding the enemy's eco and all of that jazz. A really good pick for the Mayans. The Huns showing up in both teams as well, for Levi B and for, who was the Hun player here, for Mbel. Both picking Huns, and the Huns again just great for their speed, especially due to the fact that this is a water map in some ways. It's kind of a hybrid, I guess, but water is going to be a very important part of this map, and so the Huns there, a great kind of mix of land and water. They're fast, they're good against the Vikings on water because of their speed. Their lack of houses saves them wood, which makes them very strong on water as well. And also the fact that they are great in the late game on the land. The fact that they can make a lot of paladins. The fact they can, make halbs and siege rams. They can really be a very good push force on a flank. So the Huns very versatile, and as such they are a pick for both teams. We've also got the Vikings for the Titanic team. And we've got, I'm pretty sure we've got, oh wait, hang on. We must have Vikings again somewhere else. Yeah, Rocks for Roma and Titanic. Antan choosing the Vikings here. Both teams choosing Vikings, both with a Viking player. And of course, that is to help secure this lake in the middle. And that is for the grushing. That is for the water control. The Viking player going to be the best at that. And in both teams even choosing Mongols as well. Mongols for their fast aggression. Their super fast feudal times and all of that jazz, allowing them to get some very high pressure up early on, and they're a great late game land civ with their Mangudai and their siege onagers later on. So looking very good teams so far, but interesting again that they picked both teams unknowingly what the other team, they didn't know, what the other team was picking, yet they both picked the same civs, which is kind of interesting. Hannah's laughing at me because I can't say anything right this evening, and that's even more distracting, so it's continuing to make me mess up what I'm trying to say. Anyway, NH Boy at the top, getting in with that Drush there. Don't think he managed to kill a single villager. In fact, very well defended by Iridescent. These villagers, one is very low, and we've got another scout coming in. Man, this guy is so unlucky. The militia's coming in, 2 scouts coming in, but very well defended by Iridescent, very well defended. And NH Boy coming up with the tower behind this wood as well. Got a feel for Iridescent right now. All the pressure is on him. And hopefully he doesn't crack under that pressure, because the Titanic team would be very much at a disadvantage if they lose Iridescent. Iridescent losing 1 villager there in that wood line. And NH Boy putting on a good amount of pressure. Iridescent with a few scouts out. The Mongol scout rush, of course, being such a popular and a very strong tactic to go for. But interestingly enough, Rocks here building a stable on this flank. And in fact, we've got NH Boy and Rocks both putting a lot of pressure onto the Mongol player, the Iridescent here, which is really unusual to see the pocket player doing feudal aggression. I wonder if he is actually doing feudal aggression or not, though. Quickly have a look at Rocks here. He is going to do a fast castle still, but he has got his stable up, and it looks like when he does get up to the castle age, he has this forward stable. He's going to look to get very aggressive on the purple player. Purple, though, getting right through these walls. There is a hole somewhere, and speaking of holes, actually, Wizard Winner requested that the new emote that I add is a hole in a wall, and Wololo hole is being added into the chat emotes very soon. I've sent it to Twitch. It is currently pending, and once Wololo hole is accepted, you guys can, or you subscribers, sorry, you Wololo warlords can spam Wololo hole in the chat for that fancy new hole emote. In the middle, I am surprised there is not a huge amount of aggression, really. We have got Levi B, though, the Hun player, doing a lot of boats, and in fact, he seems to have the one up over Antan at the moment, which is pretty unfortunate because Antan here, the Viking player, you'd expect him to be all over the water at the moment, but he is not. He is still feudal. He's started, well, trying to do some galleys, but Levi B with the jump on him, doing a great job. Antan trying to take down these ships from Cloud. He's going to get a couple of fishing ship snipes here, and that's going to be quite a big deal. Of course, water maps, or sort of hybrid maps like this, which are part water, part land, so crucial that you get as much fishing as possible in the late game. Well, not in the late game, more in the mid game, I guess. The fishing in the mid game is going to be huge. But that's why both teams trying to rush the lake here and take out these fishers. But not a huge amount of action there. I'm surprised. These guys seem to be focusing more on a kind of fast castle build than bothering at all with the water. In fact, the Viking player for Roma, not really on the water at all here. He's got 4 fishing ships, and that's it. He's not made a single galley yet, which is very unusual. Meanwhile, they're letting the hunt player take that job of being the galley spammer, and so far that seems to be working pretty well for them, as Antan now trying to get some revenge and take those fishers out from Levi B and the rest of the Roma team. Titanic not looking great on the water at the moment, got to say. Meanwhile, the Viking player Rox, instead of going for the water like we said, actually going for knights on this flank. He is being supported by Embel though, the red player here. Doubled stable out from him and a fast castle as well. So it's going to be Hun knights against Viking knights. We know who wins that one. The Hun knights by a landslide. These Viking knights are unupgraded. They're going to be facing up against Embel's 2 stable knights very soon. That could be pretty messy for them. This flank is still open, actually, and Rox and NH-Boy really do need to wall this up and make sure it gets walled up properly. Otherwise, they are going to have a bad time with knights getting into their ecos and causing all manner of problems. NH-Boy, though, I'm really unsure what his plan here is. What is his strategy? He's still making scouts, when he was a second ago. Scouts still coming out. And, I mean, really? Scouts still? When you've got knights coming out from Embel? That does not make much sense at all. And he should really be getting up to the Castle Age now, instead of delaying his Castle Age by making more scout cavalries. Really unsure about that decision. I know it's the Mongols. That's what they do. They scout rush, but he didn't. He drushed. And then to drush and go into a scout rush makes no sense whatsoever, really, in this situation. And, yeah, NH-Boy just going to die to the knights so fast. Is it even worth making those scouts at all? Probably not. Iridescent, though, still feudal for now as well. And I think, yeah, he is up to the Castle Age about 55% of the way up. So he is at least getting up to the Castle Age here. And he does have his 2 stables out. So once he gets up, he will be looking for some very high aggression with knights. But Rox coming forwards with this battering ram. It's so unusual to see a Viking player this aggressive on a flank like this. Usually they are reduced to slinging or water. And considering this is, you know, a very large, well, there's a large amount of water on this map. It's so crazy to see Rox not even building a single galley, as Levi B has pretty much complete water control at the moment. The only other person on the water here is Antan, the green player, the Viking for Titanic. But he has got nothing on Levi B at the moment. Levi B, some serious amount of galleys out there, and that is looking really good. Iridescent, though, going to be relying heavily now on Embel to keep him safe on this flank. Iridescent with a bunch of spears. He might actually upgrade Pike. There's the pikeman upgrade, actually. And he just needs to keep safe on this left flank. Unfortunately, though, that stable does fall, and this stable looks like it's going to shortly follow. So his plan of fast knights probably not going to be so successful here. But these spearmen doing a ton of work on these knights. I know they're only spears, but Viking knights, there are no bloodlines here. There's no +2 defense upgrade, and they are getting taken down by this spearman alone. Why the hell did Rox stay in on that? He probably should have just ran straight back, because that's a very costly loss for him. Dying like that to simply just spearman is very costly when you are, you know, making throwing away that many knights, I should say. They are throwing them away at this point in time. So that TC coming up for Iridescent on that flank. He's looking very good. He's got a score lead over NH Boy. He's got a score lead nearly over Rocks. He did have a second ago anyway. And he's got all this fishing on the lake here. But look at this from Cloud. Cloud sending a couple of galleys here all the way through this little river, all the way around the back. And Cloud is actually taking out these fishing ships from Iridescent. Iridescent, though, quick to get a fire ship out. One fire ship should deal with these galleys. They're on low health anyway. And Iridescent may lose, what, one fishing ship or two fishing ships, but it's not really such a big deal. He's had a lot of fishing back here. More fishing than most, actually, as Cloud only has 3 fishing ships, and we've only got 4 out from Levi B. So, yeah, I mean, Iridescent with all this fishing back here, that's a huge boom to him, or boon to him, I guess. And these guys are able to push out well on this flank. NH Boy, though, finally up to the Castle Age, and he is starting archer production now, so he will be doing crossbows as soon as he gets up to the Castle Age. But crossbows, I don't know, I mean, it's going to be decent against these pikes from Iridescent, but as soon as we see a Mangonel coming out, it's going to be a different story altogether. Mangonel's, of course, going to be so great for Iridescent to defend, and he has got this support from Embel here as well. Now, on the south side, we've hardly been watching it, but Eddie's up to the Castle Age now, as is his opponent at the south, Cloud. He's up, he's got those plumed archers on the way out, and that's just Eddie all over, isn't it? Building a castle as soon as he gets up to the Castle Age, starting that plumed archer production. I'm surprised we're not seeing any monks from him, but it seems quite stalemate at this south, actually, this south area. Cloud adding in some plumed archers of his own. Eddie getting a little bit more aggressive with this Mangonel, but also walling up in the same breath. So it's kind of like, well, Eddie's going to make sure that wall stays closed. However, Eddie is sending a few of his plumed archers up to the north of the map to help out here against the crossbows of NH Boy and the knights of Rocks. Rocks really not with that many knights though, just 3 here, and they are still pretty lacking on the upgrades. There's no +2 defense or +2 attack yet, and of course there is no bloodlines either. So, I mean, this is pretty bad news for Rocks and NH Boy on this flank. If Iridescent starts to add in some siege now, then they will find themselves open pretty quickly. There's only one stone wall here, and that will go down eventually to a battering ram. If you do not defend it, that is. But I imagine that Rocks, if the worst comes to the worst, you can get out of Mangonel and take down battering rams anyway. But yeah, with these plumed archers in here as well, this is going to get pushed right back, and Iridescent on the front with a castle as well. Getting those castles in early, so worth it, especially for the Mongol player who is going to want those Mangonai. Castle's going to be absolutely crucial to the Mongols and the Mayans. The Huns and the Vikings not really relying on castles very much in this kind of situation, but the Mongols and the Mayans for sure are going to be relying on castles quite heavily in this game. Embel still lacking that +2 defense upgrade on his knights, but it's not really so much of a big deal with Eddie here to help out as well. These plumed archers doing good damage, and they are taking these units down. That castle is up though, and that's all they needed. They just needed the time, I guess, to get that castle up. And Iridescent with these monks now doing some great damage, getting some conversions on this flank. The Wallow Warriors are out in force. Away, Embel breaking his way through that gate. Well, not even breaking his way, just running through that gate very well. Now, interestingly enough, we've actually got a sling here from Antan. He's gone up to the Castle Age, and he's slinging Eddie into the Imperial Age here. And I think in this situation, whoa, okay. We got a landing from Cloud. Did not see that one coming. Where was Cloud's transport ship? I don't know. But that had to be a landing from Cloud there. There was no other way he would have got round that wall. Cloud with the landing there. Going to take out that Mangonel by the looks of things and catch Eddie off guard slightly here. Cloud with +2 attack and range on those plumed archers. A good play from him, but it surprises me so much that the Titanic team have just neglected water entirely here. I mean, if you look at the water, Levi B is the only one on the water at the moment, really. I mean, there's, what, 3 galleys from Antan, as he now is reduced to slinging, I guess. But I mean, that's kind of crazy, to that many ships out from Levi B. I mean, it's good because he is going to be able to hit and hold down quite a lot of map control in the north here. He could come up here and start hitting this wood line. In fact, he already is coming in at the back, hitting this stone from Iridescent as well. And water control should never be underestimated. I'm just surprised that Levi B hasn't added more fishing ships at this point in time. I'm very surprised that there are no more fishing ships at the moment. And that is, I think, a big opportunity missed for the Roma team here. But this is a really interesting and important thing to note. Eddie's been slung to the Imperial Age now, and I doubt that Cloud is up to Imp as well. He is just clicking up as I say that. I can only assume that he's had a little bit of a sling from somebody here, probably from Rox actually, who is not making many knights anymore. So getting your Mayan player up to the Imperial Age quickly is great. The early Imperial Age, the Mayans are just going to be incredibly strong. The Plumed Archers are great unit in pretty much every situation, really. I mean, Plumed Archers is just fantastic, and they do such a huge amount of damage. But this is going to be huge for Eddie here, getting the Imperial Age advantage over Cloud. He can start taking down those castles, and that's the important thing, getting those castles down as fast as possible. And, you know, this is interesting because Cloud is on the way up to Imp now, but he's only got one castle. And I don't see a second castle coming up yet. He's not got that much stone income. And that's kind of a big deal for him. I mean, he needs to get the castles out quickly here. Otherwise, it's not going to be all that great for him being in the Imperial Age. The idea for being slung to Imperial is so you can do some fast aggression and really start focusing down your opponent's castles. But if you're at a castle disadvantage, then you're not going to have as many trebs. And eventually you will lose that fight. So yeah, not so great there. Why is everyone salting in the chat? I don't know. Everyone's spamming the salt for some reason. So on the north then, this is kind of where the magic is happening. The action is going on. Iridescent, really unfortunate for him, getting taken out from all angles, it seems. Those ships from Levi B causing all manner of trouble. In fact, Iridescent may lose this town center as well, because it's pretty close to the shoreline here, and these war galleys can hit it from a good range, and that is pretty bad for Iridescent here. And I bet he is really regretting now. Or I bet the Titanic team even are really regretting not having any water control at all. Iridescent is, well, building way out over on this left flank. This right side of his base locked down. The crossbows in here from an H-boy as well. Just, yeah, forcing Iridescent away. And that is causing Iridescent to lose a lot of eco and fall right back after all of that ground that they gained earlier on. Meanwhile, though, Mbel is still trying to get his way through these gates, but NH-Boy is locking it shut, locking it tight, and they're going to stop these units coming through. That's really important. However, in the south now, things are about to hot up. I think Eddie with another castle now coming up. And he's got those trebs out. 3 trebs already. The castle from Cloud is already down. And Cloud here is wide open. There's a castle coming up at the back, but Eddie's moving forwards with those plumed archers. Brazier is most likely on the way for him. There it is on 95%, and that is done. The elite plumed archer upgrade won't be far off if he's being slung. We've still got Anton here in the corner just slinging Eddie at the moment, and that's huge. Eddie just going to move forwards and roll through this base from Cloud with his trebs. The Mayan player in this position is just at such an advantage now. The Mayans, like I say, in the early Imperial Age, once they get those trebs out, once they've got those plumed archers massed, they're a really difficult force to stop once they gain some momentum. But bad news for Iridescent in the north. So whilst it's looking bad for Cloud in the south, for Roma, it's looking bad in the north for Iridescent of the Titanic. So, you know, he's lost quite a lot of villagers up here. His TC at the back is going, oh wow, it was going down until Iridescent put up a castle. Good location on that. Gonna keep that TC alive for now. But yeah, crossbows walking over his eco, that's pretty messy stuff. But meanwhile, Eddie is pushing forwards on this south side. That landing from... Or not landing, that sling, sorry, from Cloud. Antan even has been fantastic. And Eddie just chasing these villagers down. Cloud, oh, Eddie just went back. He must have had these guys on patrol because, man, if he'd have kept going, he would have killed a lot of villagers there. Cloud running en masse. All of his villagers running away, running to the hills as this next castle gets taken down. Cloud on 2 trebs at the moment versus Eddie's 3. Eddie's got the villagers close by. He's taking Cloud's gold stone as well, and that stone advantage, that castle advantage from Eddie that I talked about, is just winning him this so heavily. Now, I'm so surprised to see Rocks from Roma making this many knights. It just makes sense. This is just like a what the F moment at the moment. Rocks just spamming knights. It's the Vikings. Just why? Why not just sling your teammates? And I don't know. He's slinging as well. But this many knights is just so weird to see. I don't understand it. I guess he's doing some damage. He's going to kill a couple of villagers from Iridescent, but it is still a mystery to me why those knights are being spammed out from Levi B. Sorry, from Rocks. The red player, though, where is he? Mbel is now Imperial, and he is starting on... He must be starting on Cavalier any moment now. Where's that Cavalier upgrade, boy? He can't afford it. He's not got enough food. But I'm sure Anton will send him some food very soon. Eddie, at the moment, after being slung, I mean, he doesn't really need any more resources sent to him. He's got that momentum. He's taken down pretty much the entirety of Cloud's base. Cloud, just nothing left here. All of this that he's worked so hard to build has now been reduced to rubble as Eddie builds a castle as a site of conquest next to the starting location of Cloud's town center. If only Eddie had built it there, that would have just been perfect, but hey, he didn't. Cloud is trying to wall this up and prevent Eddie from getting through. But Eddie, no, he's not going to get through there easily. Those plumed archers will be able to do enough damage to, not be able to do enough damage even, to get through this stone wall. So that's really unfortunate for Eddie, but he has got his trebuchets just behind, and he will snipe these villagers as they try to run as well. So Cloud's so out of this game at the moment. He's forced to rebuild. He's really out of position. He's in the Imperial Age, but that is absolutely no use to him at all. And Eddie is going to lay claim to his resources, this extra stone, the extra gold, and he's got to be loving that. However, back on the water now, Anton's making a comeback. Those galleons coming out from Anton, actually cleaning up that fleet in the north from Levi B. But Levi B still with the galleon advantage at the moment on the water. But Anton, so many docks coming up now as he's in the Imperial Age, and he is going to be trying to retake the water, because ultimately water control here is going to have a very big impact on this game. Water control will hold down these crossing points, which is obviously very important. Levi B could bring all of his galleons here and stop Eddie from pushing through, and that would be huge. And of course, if you have the water as well, cannon galleons can do damage from the shore. You could get landings across, which is huge. And Wizard Winner, thank you very much, man. $50. And Eddie had the Wallalow hole, Zach, near the water. You were right, actually. You were right. Well spotted. This stone wall here is the hole that that Wizard Winner was referring to. That stone wall that is in production from Eddie, that's where Cloud's unit slipped through. Because I didn't see a transport ship. I was like, how on earth? Then later on I spotted that stone wall there being built. And that is exactly where he's slipped through. So thank you very much, Wizard Winner, for your donation. I really appreciate it, man. And thanks for tuning in as well. I know you've been busy recently, so I'm glad you can catch the stream. Anyway, yeah, Eddie's just, all over this at the bottom. Siege Workshop's going up, claiming those resources from Cloud, and meanwhile, Mbel getting in there with those Cavalier now, all over this. NH Boy, I want to say New Boy, but NH Boy, oh my goodness, these Cavalier gonna absolutely destroy everything. There is nothing here for him to defend against this. That wall is open wide, and Iridescent now as well must be up to the Imperial Age. Yes, he is. Those Mongol Mangudai starting to get massed up out of these castles. Those upgrades coming in, and that is huge. So we've got Cloud displaced at the moment, and their eco the Roma eco is wide open to this pressure now. We've got Levi B with some Cavalier of his own, the other Hun player here for the Roma team, trying to get those Cavalier out so he can try and regain some ground control at the moment. But, like I say, it's not like you promised him, and Eddie is at their gates. Literally, he will be at their gates very shortly, because he is ready to push through. He has got his plumed archers here, and he's sending some through the north as well. Interesting to me that he's pushing around rather than just pushing through. He has got trebuchets right here, but that is not really the main point. The main point is that Mbel has these Cavalier into the Roma eco. They are really far behind at the moment now. We've got the Imperial Age Mongol player as well for Titanic, and that, like I said, that Imperial Age upgrade on the Mongols is so huge. They are the late game powerhouse of this game. They out powerhouse the Huns in the late game here. Once these Mangudai get those upgrades done anyway, and at the moment that castle going down for NH Boy, he's wide open. He's got nothing left in his eco. Every villager is idle or about to be killed, I think, and Bell, I imagine at this point in time, must be getting the Paladin upgrade, but he's not. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Cloud has resigned, and that's it for Roma. A pretty quick game, actually, for the Titanic team there. I mean, Levi B had a very good game for the Roma team there. He was fantastic. He had a lot of water control, but that has now been lost as well, with Anton getting back on the water there, the Viking player for Titanic. And although Levi B had those Paladins on the land, and Bell only with Cavalier, I mean, those Paladins probably would have cleaned this up from Titanic, but NH Boy, nothing left at all. Of course, Cloud, his original base just reduced to rubble. He had to rebuild in the middle. He had nothing as well. And at that point in time, with just having Vikings on the land and Huns on the land versus the Mayans, the Mongols, and the other Hun player, it was pretty much 3v2 on the land there. And not to mention the fact that Anton just won the water back as well, meaning that this trade would have been taken down also. So very well played by Titanic. It looked very nice for Roma in the early game, and this just goes to show as well that water control isn't everything. Now, a lot of the time when I cast games, I'm casting 1v1s, and in 1v1s, yes, water is huge. But in team games, I think water doesn't have such a huge part to play. It's really important, of course, in the late game when cannon galleons can come out, and it gives you a lot. If it gives you a lot of map control, it can be important. But it's certainly not as important as the land in a team game. I feel, especially when it's kind of like a 50-50